ain't enough, Lord God. Lord God, we thank you, Lord God, for you. God, you started us on our way today, Lord God.
Yes, God.
And Lord God, we tell you thank you, God.
Thank you, God.
God, we just want to say thank you, Lord God, for everything that you're doing in our lives, God. Oh God, we just thank you, God, right now, Lord God, for this ministry, Lord God. Lord God, we asking that this ministry go forth in Jesus' name, Lord God. Lord God, we just pray for our pastor, Lord God. Lord God, we just ask, Lord God, that we just keep her lifted up, Lord God. Lord God, we just asking that you give her the strength that she needs, Lord God, going forward in this ministry, Lord God. Lord God, we know that it's not always easy, Lord God. But Lord God, we're standing and we're leaning and depending on your name, God. Lord God, we just ask, Lord God, that we, God, be good stewards, Lord God. Lord God, that we will be interceders, Lord God, to keep her lifted up, Lord God. Lord God, to keep her prayed up, Lord God. Lord God, to keep us, Lord God, doing what you will have us to do in Jesus' name, Lord God. Lord God, we just thank you, Lord God, for the prayer on today, Lord God. It blessed me, Lord God, to know that we were created for this, Lord God. Lord God, we just thank you, Lord God. Lord God, knowing, Lord God, that you knew what, Lord God, what you created us for, Lord God, even before you placed us in our mother's womb, Lord God. Lord God, we thank you, Lord God. Our God, I bless your name, Lord God, for being blessed to be in the Evans family, Lord God. Lord God, even marrying into the Thomas family, Lord God. And Lord God, knowing, God, that I was needed, God. Hallelujah, God. I praise your holy name, God. Lord God, I thank you, Lord God, for what you're doing in our lives, God.
Yes, Father.
Lord God, I just give your name glory, God. I give your name praise, God. Oh God, I just want to tell you thank you, God. God, if I had 10,000 tongues, I couldn't tell you thank you enough, God. For what you have done in our lives, God. Oh God, I ask, Lord God, that you just show favor upon this ministry, Lord God. Lord God, the prophet said on Sunday, Lord God, that favor was upon this ministry, Lord God. And Lord God, I thank you for it, Lord God. Lord God, you know what we have set before us, Lord God. And Lord God, I'm asking you, Lord God, to bless it in the name of Jesus, Lord God. Lord God, I'm asking that you show favor, Lord God, on our behalf, Lord God. Lord God, I ask that you set people, Lord God, in high places, Lord God. Lord God, I ask that you, Lord God, have favor upon us, Lord God. Lord God, I thank you, Lord God, for those that had already donated and given, Lord God. Lord God, I'm depending on you, God. Lord God, I'm believing you, Lord God, for our building, Lord God. In Jesus' name, God, I'm counting already done, God. Hallelujah, God. Hallelujah, God. Hallelujah, God. Lord God, we just ask, Lord God, that you look down upon us, Lord God. Lord God, I thank you, Lord God, for every gift, Lord God, that you placed down on the inside of us, Lord God. Lord God, I thank you, Lord God, right now, Lord God. Lord God, I thank you, Lord God, for now knowing the difference, Lord God. Lord God, knowing, Lord God, that you created me for this, Lord God. Lord God, and I thank you, God. Lord God, I ask that you, Lord God, let us embrace our gifts, Lord God. Lord God, I ask that you help us, Lord God, to run our gifts, Lord God. Lord God, you have entrusted the gift in us, Lord God. So, Lord God, help us to embrace it, God. Lord God, help us to live through it, God. Lord God, help us to be the people that you will have us to be, Lord God. Lord God, so that we will make you proud, God. In the name of Jesus, God. Oh, God, we want you, Lord God, to be proud of this ministry, Lord God. Oh, God, it says, Lord God, that you touch every member, Lord God. We thank you, Lord God, for even in this pandemic, Lord God. Lord God, we haven't gone missing or lacking anything, God. Oh, God, and I bless you for it, God. I give you glory for it, God. Oh, God, I praise you for it, God. Oh, God, I thank you, Lord God, for the new members, God. Oh, God, I
you, God. Yes, God. Thank you, God.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yes, God. Have your way, God. Have your way, God. Yes, God.
Thank you, God.
Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Father.
Yes, God. Lord, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Thank you. Hallelujah. Thank you.
Let's clap our hands in here. We thank Sister Wanda for leading us, on today. A powerful intercessory prayer. Yielding herself to allow herself to be prostrate before the Lord, to be able to pray and intercede on the behalf of us in this ministry. We give God praise, glory, and honor. On tonight, I want to come to you a little bit. It's only 2 verses that we're going to come from out of 1 Chronicles, the 4th chapter. It's only 2 verses, but I'm going to tie it into another scripture in New Testament so that you can be able to understand what I was teaching on Quick Word Tuesday. How many people had an opportunity to see Quick Word Tuesday?
Yes.
Was it a blessing to you?
Yes.
Did it make sense to you? Did it help you to be able to understand where you are and why you're in the circumstance that you're in? With a show of hands, or just say around the room, what's your first ministry?
Your family.
Your family. Were you born into it?
Yeah.
You was born actually into your first ministry. That oftentimes we ask what it is that I'm called to do. What it is that I'm called to do. But if you really want to know what you're called to do, check and see what you was born into.
Amen.
If you look around and see what it is that your family fights the most, that your family goes through the most, that you can find what you're called to by what you was born into. But God allow you, we all can pick our friends. How many of us started off with a set of friends when we was in kindergarten? We changed up a little bit when we got up in higher elementary. By the time we got to junior high, those same folk wasn't rolling with us no more. By the time we got to high school, it might be 1 or 2 still kind of hung around. But basically, at each phase of your life, you realize that you don't start off sometimes with the same people that you end up with. Amen? That we can pick and choose our friends.
That's right.
But we can't pick and choose our family. That's right. Who you were born into. There was a reason that God allowed you to be born in the Thompson family, the Evans family, the McPhail family, the Rogers family. God allowed it because God knew what it was going to take in order to get you to where he was calling you to. Yeah. That we all sometimes look for a certain, we like the certain atmosphere, got to be perfect for us. But God knows exactly what it's going to take and allow the heat to be turned on to get you exactly where you're going to be. Yeah. That if you put a cake in the oven and if it's on 125, I'm telling you right now, you're going to have a mess.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. That's right.
But when God really wants to get you and get the very best out of you, all the ingredients, you can have all the sugar, the butter, the vanilla, and all that stuff, the right flour, and shift it all up. But let me tell you something. If you don't put that oven on the right temperature, you can have all the right ingredients, but you still ain't going to get the very best out of that cake.
That's right. That's right.
That God got everyone. God made you. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. It wasn't by chance that you showed up here today. It wasn't by chance that you was born. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna walk you into a testimony, and it was so amazing that how God reminded me of this testimony because I actually forgot. And when you're born and God anointed you for something, that you cannot even be aborted out of it.
Yeah, my God.
You cannot even be miscarried out of it. When God has called you and got his hand on you, there is no weapon When all of us get home, I want y'all to go back and look and listen at Fred Hammond's testimony. Fred Hammond, his mom was pregnant with him. And she wanted to have an abortion. And she went in to have the abortion. And they went in and they started the process, and they told her to go home. And within 2 or 3 days, she should have been able to bleed out. They gave her a bag and told her to put the stuff inside the bag and bring it back, come back to the clinic. After a few days, nothing happened. So she went back to the clinic and said that I came back because I know I started the process of the abortion, but nothing happened. So they said, well, let us go through the process again. So she said she was laying there on the table, and she said that she knew within herself that if she would have went through it, that she was going to die, because that's what she felt like. She said because it was like death was on her. And through all of that, Fred Hammond survived. Let me tell you something. I don't care what nobody plot against you, what they try to do. When the hand of God is on your life, that nobody can stop you. They can't even abort you. The woman wanted to get rid of the baby. But there's a call that's on that man's life. There's a worship that's released out of him. And it didn't just start when he came here on the earth. It started when he was conceived in his mother's womb. So even while you conceived in your mother's womb, you ain't nothing but a blob of blood. But guess what? God said, I got called for you. There's need I got for you. And there ain't nothing that can stop what I called you to do. I'll keep my hand on you. I'll cover you. I'll protect you until you show up and do what I called you to do. And all over, you know that song when he talks about there ain't no weapon formed against us. And I'm telling you, that thing get to me every time he sing it. But he understands the power that comes with there ain't no weapon formed against me, because he survived it. Your testimony ought to be able to change when you survive something. And I'm not talking about something somebody told you, something that you actually survived through.
My God.
When God's hand is on you, there's nothing that the enemy can do to stop the call that's on your life. God made you. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. He made you. He equipped you with everything you need for you to survive, thrive, and live the life that he has called you to live. The gift didn't show up when you got 20.
Come on. Amen.
The gift didn't show up when you got 30, 40, 50 years old. The gift was in you when he allowed that sperm to be able to fertilize that egg.
My God.
And how I know it's a divine appointment for you to be here, because out of all the million sperm cells and all the eggs that was released, the one sperm cell that I needed for me to be here, for you to be here, you bypassed all of them. And CJ, Wanda, Angel, Bianca, Bree lived. And guess what happened to all the others? They died. So anytime that you want to give up, remind yourself, if I made it then, I can make it now. Because if it wasn't for you to be here, you would have been one of the ones that died. But it was because of God's grace and mercy that he allowed you to still be here. Somebody say, there's purpose on my life.
There's purpose on my life.
There's purpose on my life. And guess what? You will not die until everything that God has spoken over your life be fulfilled. In the book of 1 Chronicles, the 4th chapter, the 9th verse, and it says, and Jabez was more honorable than his brethren. And his mother called his name Jabez. Jabez means pain. Saying, because I bear him in sorrow. She named him after what she was going through. How many of us, when we ride by something or we show up at a certain place, it reminds us of something that we have gone through? Whether good or bad, you be like, man, it start automatically thinking of memories that happen right there. Her memory, when she was giving birth, was the fact that she thought about her pain. And around the room, the women that have actually had children, once you have a baby, you forget about the pain because you're embracing the miracle, the blessing now that you're holding. Not to say that you don't remember that it hurt, but you forget about what you went through because now you're embracing the blessing that you're now holding in your hand. But sometimes we forget about the blessing because we stay so focused on the pain. Sometimes we look over the one or two that show up, and we'll start thinking about where all the other 20 at, where the other 50 at, and we look over the one or two that God has blessed us with because we're worried about the people that ain't even showed up. They ain't got it yet. So until you get it, guess what? I gotta preach. I gotta pray to the ones that showed up. Amen. To get it. Apparently they don't want it bad enough. But until you want it bad enough, guess what you'll do? You'll show up. Amen. And not only show up, you will show up in receptive mode in order to receive it. Not only show up in receptive mode, you will also show up on time to get it. How many, when you're hungry for something, you will show up on time to go get it? Yeah. When you're hungry for something, and I ain't talking about just food. When you want something bad enough, you will come there before the doors open. I remember I was going through something one day, and we didn't have noonday prayer that day. I sat out there. I remember sitting out there on the porch at K Ranch and cried by myself because nobody else showed up. They canceled prayer that day, but I needed something from God. And I said, God, if I have to sit out here on this porch by myself to get what I need, that is exactly what I do. But see, we got the perception that it takes a whole lot of people in order for us to get what we need. But when you really need something from God, guess what you got to do? You got to get by yourself. Come on. Come on. My God. When you was born, you was with who?
You by yourself. Nobody else.
Even if you had a twin, both of y'all ain't coming out the same time. And Jabez was more honorable than his brother, and his mother called his name Jabez, saying, because I have bore him in sorrow. And Jabez called on the God of Israel, saying, oh, that thou wouldest bless me indeed, and enlarge my border, and that thy hand might be with me, and that thou wouldest keep me from evil, and that it be not to my sorrow. And God granted him that which he requested. And God granted him that which he requested. When you're first walking into your gifts and your callings, you have to understand that you have to position yourself in a place of prayer. A place of prayer. That in spite of what he was born into, and you got to understand that we don't talk about Jabez no more in the Bible. There ain't another recording about him no more. At all. If somebody else find it, you let me know. No more. But guess what? If God only used you one time, come on. One time, to do one particular thing, you have done what God has asked of you. Think about how many people quote Jabez's prayer. Jabez was more honorable than all of his brothers. And guess what? All of them came from the same tribe. He ain't had no particular title. Nothing. He had a calling on his life. And his calling was to show up and pray. God is showing you right here from Jabez, showing you in spite of what you was born into. Yeah. How many of us like our family all the time? Y'all ain't gonna raise your hand? No. Oh, man. I know I ain't the only one. that none of us like our family all the time. How many of us can name some we know that our families struggle with and go through.
Yeah.
When you go to the doctor, guess what they say? They ask you, what are some things that run in your family? They want to know the family history. And so now the doctor is automatically already speculating what you might have based upon your family history. But here it is, Jabez. He was more honorable than all the rest. Not that he did anything so special. He just showed up and was born. That God has a reason and a purpose why he anointed you to be born in your family.
Yeah.
It's going to take you to pray somebody else through.
Yeah.
I fall and pray down to the enemy too. You got to change your language. How you going to join in with them? Yeah, all of us bipolar and schizophrenic. Girl, yeah, high blood pressure running my family. I got high blood pressure. You got to be able to speak a different language if you're really walking in a place of faith. He didn't speak the same language they spoke. In order for him to be honorable, he had to be speaking another language.
Right.
What are you speaking? Because if I can't tell the difference between you and an unbeliever, apparently you walk in the same path that they walk. And people will get offended because you're not afraid.
Oh, yeah.
Because you ain't speaking like they speaking.
Amen.
People will get offended if you don't believe the way they believe.
Yeah.
Because they want to take you and control you and dictate your life. Because the thing that's controlling them is fear, and they want fear to also control you. But my Bible said that God did not give us the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. How many of us got power in here? You got to be the difference. If God allow you to show up in the Johnson family, that's because there's a Johnson demon that you got to be able to handle.
Yes.
And if the demon is still running rapid through your family, somebody allow a demon to slip by. How many of us, you remember Ghostbusters, they went looking for ghosts. How many of us are demon busters?
Come on.
I'm going to show up and I'm going to slay a demon on the day.
That's good.
You got to go looking for that thing, because guess what? If you don't handle it, guess what is going to happen? Your kids going to have to deal with the same demon that you didn't handle. And that's why it runs rapid in families. The devil don't care about you casting them out if he can be able to grab a hold of Tanya.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to give you scripture. Demons care about operating in territories, regions. That's why Jabez said, he said, enlarge my territory. Because he knew that there was a demonic force over the territory, over the region that he abided. And he said, God, keep your hand on me so that I don't even grieve and don't feel evil.
Yeah.
Because the enemy cares about territories.
That's right.
So Jabez prayed a prayer, God, enlarge my territory so that I don't even feel the enemy. I don't even feel the weapon that is formed against me. You looking at it. The enemy will leave you and he looks for somebody else to connect to. Because he wants to stay in the area.
That's right.
Because if I can stay in the area, I can find somebody else that might be dealing with got a weakness. And all I need is a crack. And I slide in. So if you didn't deal with low self-esteem, low self-esteem is now passed down to your children. And then when it's passed down to them and they haven't dealt with it, the demon grab a hold and have a stronghold. That's why strongholds run rapid in families. Because they want to stay in the region. What you talking about, Elder McLeod? Okay, I'm glad you asked. Let's go to Mark 5. They went across the lake to the region of Gennesaret, however you pronounce it. When Jesus got out of the boat, a man with an impure spirit came from the tombs to meet him. This man lived in the tombs, and no one could bind him anymore. Nobody can control him, not even with a chain. For he had often been chained hand and foot, but he tore the chains apart and broke the irons on his feet. Now you know you fully demon possessed when you can break chains, irons off your feet. Okay. No one was strong enough to subdue him. Nobody ain't had no power. The demon had more power than them. Night and day among the tombs and in the hills, he will cry out and cut himself with stones. And when he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and fell on his knees in front of him. Let me tell you something. A demon know who to play with.
Come on.
None of them couldn't subdue him. But let me tell you something. A demon don't ever let nobody. People play that game that they ain't scared enough. They talking about they worshiping all kind of foolishness. But let me tell you something. With a real prayer warrior, a real saint, somebody really anointed and powerful show up, they don't play those kind of games with them.
That's right.
They bow right on down. You know, when you was in school, you knew who to play with.
That's right.
They be like, oh, they ain't fool. They fool with who they want to be fooled with. A demon knows who to play with.
That's right. Yeah.
When he saw Jesus, he bowed down. He shouted at the top of his voice, "What do you want with me? Jesus, Son of the Most High God, in God's name, don't torture me." For Jesus had said to him, "Come out of this man, you impure spirit." Then Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" "My name is Legion." In other words, we walk unified. Our demons, we are together. That's how come that when we are operating, we got to be able to operate unified. The enemy knows that if you're not together, if you're not operating together, there ain't no real power. Power comes together when we join together. That's how come when people say, "Oh, I still feel the same glory sitting down home looking at it on TV." The devil is a liar. You gain power when we all come together. When we come together, we're able to cast some stuff out.
Yeah. Right.
And he begged Jesus again and again not to send them out of the area. He ain't wanted to leave the territory.
Come on.
That's why I'm telling y'all that the enemy, he don't want to leave out of the territory. Even if you cast me out, I'm good with it. Just don't make me leave out of the territory. So Jabez said, "Enlarge my territory." Because he knew that there was power when God began to open up the territory to be able to keep him. He said, "Allow me not to feel no evil. Don't even allow it to grieve me." God hand is on me. And because God hand on me, God don't even allow the demons to be able to whisper at me. You remember when I was telling y'all about the dream that God showed me about how the coronavirus and everything was spreading. And he showed me, and I could actually even see the demon. It looked like a wolf. Had yellow, the white part of his eyes was yellow, and the brown part of his eyes was red. And his teeth were so sharp, and he was growling, and I could almost like feel his breath on me. And God said he desires you, but he can't even have you. He wants you, but he can't even touch you. The enemy breathing now, and he's launching attacks right now, and want to see if you're going to bow.
Oh my God.
And I'm good. I'm good if you dismiss me. But if I'm sitting close to co-pastor, if her mind ain't quite there, and she wobbling and thinking about other stuff, and ain't got her roll up, ain't got the power up, ain't prayed up, guess what now? I ease on in. Because I'm good with if you kick me out of Kendra's house.
Yeah.
Long as I can go in the room with you. So therefore the enemy will bounce from room to room. And I'm good with going from room to room. Long as you don't make me leave the property. So Legion, they began to speak and said that, please don't cast us out. Don't make us leave the territory. I saw some pigs over there. Just cast us in the pigs.
Jesus. Anything to do.
Anything will do, long as I ain't got to leave the territory. We have to understand, when there's a call that's on your life, you got to recognize when the enemy has leaped from person to person.
Come on.
It's not just because we sitting around trying to say, I don't know what I'm called to do. I go to church Sunday after Sunday, and the pastor don't let me read the announcements. He ain't let me pray. He ain't called me up to lay hands. If you want to know what your call is, look in your family.
That's it.
What spirits are lurking? What lesbian spirit? Homosexual spirit? What poverty spirit? What mind-boggling spirit is working in your family? What diabolical spirit? What cancer demon is lurking in your family and taking control? And you're looking how to preach at the next platform, and your sermon is to preach in your household and cast a demon out.
Come on.
My God.
Have your way, God.
That's the real call that's on your life.
Yeah.
God started dealing with me. He said that Jabez was born. She was looking at the fact that he was born out of pain. Not sure what she was even dealing with. And some stuff that I was reading up about it, I was like, I ain't never read it, so I ain't even going to even tell y'all that, so I don't know. But she was dealing with something. And what she was dealing with, she began to name him after her pain. How many of us label what we going through? My headache, my back pain, my knees been bothering me, my cancer, my diabetes, my high blood pressure. And we own it. And what God is teaching you, if you got it, it's because I'm preparing you to pray against.
Come on.
Learn scriptures on it. That's why I tell y'all, if you're dealing with any financial issues, look for scriptures that teach on how to break the curse. Because sometimes if you look back through your family, if you broke, half the time your mama and your daddy was broke too. Because if they ain't learned how to handle their finances, they ain't taught you how to handle your finances. If they didn't overcome certain things, guess what? A lot of times you're dealing with the same stuff that they dealt with. So if you want to know what the real call is on your life, check and see what you're born into. There's a reason that you was born. God called you for this. You was handpicked for this.
Yeah.
I told them, I said, on this morning, I said, I want you to put your name there.
Come on.
I was born in the Lottie, in the Samuel family, because they had need of me. I want y'all to say that to y'all self. I don't know what y'all family. What? And we're going to get to that. Because even after you're born into something, you have to be mindful of what you get married to. Because when you get married to in a certain family, now you take on their demons. And if you ain't warred against the stuff that you already fighting against, now you got to now deal with the demons of their family. And now you're trying to figure out, my children ain't, I don't know what wrong with my children. My children ain't never act like this right here. I ain't never act like this right here. You got to check the lineage behind who you got married to. Who laid down and had a baby with.
Come on.
Because getting pregnant is not just getting pregnant. Having sex ain't just having sex. You got to understand this thing is spiritual. You in warfare when you lay down and gap your legs open and you receive somebody else in the inside of you. It's a spiritual warfare. It's more than feeling good.
All right.
And now you're trying to figure out why I'm making like this. Because now you're receiving that spirit on the inside of you. And it becomes a force that you're not understanding how to even break away from. Why I'm crying? I don't even know why I'm crying about. Why? I don't even know why I'm mad. They ain't saying nothing to me. I just started thinking. The enemy plays on you. And you don't even know why you're responding the way that you're responding. Because there's a demon still lurking. And if you don't deal with that, guess who watches you? Your children. And what you accept, they'll turn around and accept it. And let me tell you something. As it goes on, it gets stronger. Because the Bible talks about after the demon or the spirit is now cast out, and it come back and it's all nice and clean, and you ain't replaced it with word.
Come on.
He go back and he said, come on, CJ. I found us some place to go and hang out at. And he go get something 7 times more stronger than itself. I'm in the book. Go get 7 times more stronger than itself. And now you're trying to figure out, when I gave it up one time. How many of you ever had you was addicted to something? And you gave it up? Have you ever picked it back up again? And it was harder to let go? The second time, more demons came along with it. Let me grip up a little bit harder. When they came to Jesus, they saw the man who had been possessed by the legion of demons sitting there, dressed in his right mind, and they were afraid. I missed the part that it was cast into the piece. Then Jesus asked, what is your name? My name is Legion, he replied, for we are many. And he begged Jesus again and again not to send them out of the territory. A large herd of pigs was feeding on the nearby hillside. The demons begged Jesus, send us among the pigs. Allow us to go into them. He gave them permission, and the impure spirits came out and went into the pigs. The herd, about 2,000 in number, rushed down the steep bank into the lake and were drowned. Now, if those spirits was able to go into 2,000 pigs and drive them crazy until they ran down a steep and went into a lake and drowned, they got stronger when they stayed in the region. Because when they were in the man, he was still alive, even though he was cutting himself. And he was out of his mind. He was still yet alive. But when you don't deal with something, the enemy don't care that you cast them out.
Come on.
He just want to stay in the territory. When you're walking in your calling, in your gift, what God has called you to walk in, you have to first understand and allow yourself to be in a place of prayer. Since you've been a part of this ministry, how many of you have seen your gifts manifest even more through prayer? It was a prayer to a covenant God, the God of Israel. It was a prayer for blessing, for good, as the expression of divine favor was on him. He wanted favor, Jabez. He knew, he understood that he had to position himself in a place of prayer in order to receive something that his brothers wasn't even getting. The next thing, it was a prayer of prosperity. When you want to break the yoke of bondage, you got to change your prayer life. He was more honorable than them because he was speaking something different. Have you ever been around people and that's all they do is talk negative? And then in the same breath they'll tell you, but they Christian. It was a prayer for prosperity. When he said, enlarge my coast. We know nothing of Jabez's way of life, whether he was a husbandman or a warrior or a ruler. But it is clear that he asked for enlargement of means or authority or territory because he understood what his brothers was getting he didn't want. When you see what somebody else getting and you know you don't want that, you got to do something different.
That's right. Amen.
Amen?
Amen.
When I don't want what you got, I got to do something different. Because I don't want to receive the same results. And in order to get new results, you got to do what? Something different. It was a prayer for strength. He said that thy hand might be with me. You got to understand when you're going through something, sometimes you got to just say, God, lay your hands on me. Truly, I don't mind. Because sometimes the way is going to get tough. Especially when you're racing up against something that has been a stronghold for a long time. You got to pray against that thing. And I don't know about you, I done got tired before praying for something. Have you ever got tired? You've been praying and believing for something, you ain't never show up. You get a little weary. He said, Lord, lay your hand on me. He was praying for strength. How many of us need strength in the room? For what you're dealing with. What you got to go through. Because there's some stuff that you're going to come up against that you're going to need strength for. And I suggest that you don't start asking for it once you get in it. You got to start praying for strength before it even show up. It was also a prayer for safety and purity. The evil from which this good man would find be kept away from us, probably both temporal and spiritual. How suitable a petition for us all that he got to start asking God, God, protect me. Protect me from danger seen and danger unseen. There's some demons that you're fighting against that you don't even see. You don't even know where in the world that right there. Have you ever been going through it today? Be like, I don't know where that came from. So all of a sudden somebody just spaz out on God, cover my children. God, keep them, God.
Yeah.
Cover my husband. God, keep your hands on us, God. Cover my members one by one. Cover their family, Jesus.
Yeah.
God, provide everything that they might need. Things that they don't even know they need. God, send it their way. God, allow favor to rest on them, Jesus. You got to begin to speak and call that thing. You can't wait for it to show up. Have you ever seen somebody boxing and y'all ever saw Rambo? Good illustration. Guess what Rambo started doing? He was preparing for the fight before it ever came. No, that's Rocky. He was preparing for the fight before it ever came. If he waited to prepare for Apollo Creed in the ring, he was gonna beat the brakes off of him. But if he wanted to win and have a good chance at winning, guess what he had to do? He had to prepare himself for it. If you're in a battle right now, you got to prepare yourself for war. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. Yeah. You got to begin to come against every demon, every witch, every warlock that has been assigned to your family. Yeah. I started saying, God, show me the demons that's been assigned to my family. Show me the curses that's been assigned to us. Because I stop it right here. My children will not deal with stuff that my grandma and granddaddy didn't deal with. Yeah. That my mama and my daddy didn't deal with. I stop it right here. But if you don't war and fight for it, guess what? Now your kids begin to go through the same cycle. And isn't it unfair to say, you know what, I ain't dealing with this. I let them deal with it. There's some battles you're gonna have to fight that you're called to. There's a purpose and a reason right now that each and every one of you was born on the day that you was born, the hour, the second, the minute, or the hour that you was born. Because God said that I need for them to show up. Because their calling started. Yeah. Remember when Samuel was a little boy and he was laying down and he kept getting up, he said, huh? He knew somebody was calling him. Huh? God is calling you. God is calling you. That's why you can't do what everybody else do. That's right. That's it. You're not normal. That's right. You set out to be different. Jabez wasn't normal. He was set out to be different. The rest of them, they weren't even honorable. Isn't it something? I don't even know what they did. But the Bible said that he was more honorable than them. And you know why you're so honorable? When favor is on your life. When God got need of you. When God got need of you. When you show up, things begin to shift and turn around. Amen. And it cancels every assignment when you begin to operate in the thing that God has spoken over your life. Somebody say, I am. I am. Purpose for this. Purpose for this. There's a divine call on my life. There's a divine call on my life. That I will answer. That I will answer. I will not. I will not. Die. Before I do what God has called me to do. Amen. There's a call on our lives. And every call does not necessarily mean the pulpit. Amen. But some of the greatest prayer warriors, some of the greatest intercessors, some of the greatest preachers are the ones that sit right there in your household. Yeah. Amen. I don't care how you change the world if you can't change your house. Amen. Come on. That's it. If you can pray a spirit out of your own house, you're really doing something then. Because who cares? I want to know the signs and wonders that's following behind you. Because all of this is just for a moment when you show up on Sunday morning. But how's your life really living at home? How much you praying? How much you fasting? How much you believe in God for? How you walking in the thing that God has spoken over your life? God gave me this morning. He said, you behind. I called you to write the book about being the life of a prophet. You behind. And we're looking for what's next. And God said, you ain't dealt with what I put in your hand yet. And you will never get more until you do what God has assigned you to do with this. So if your life is in turmoil, it's probably because you're out of place.
Amen.
Because when you're out of place, the blessings of God, the Bible said that he watches over his word.
Yeah.
And he sent it forth to do a thing. But guess what? He's only going to send it forth to the place that he has called it to go forth to.
Yeah.
And if the word is right there and you're over here, you're out of place. It's not that God didn't send the word, you didn't show up to get it. So who's answering the call? Answering the call. Answering the call. It's on our life. The answer to his prayer was a petition, but it was offered to a king, our king, who was rather pleased with his magnitude. There was no hesitation, no withholding. A lesson this is to God's willingness to hear and answer the supplications of his people. When we get out of ourselves, and in spite of what else is going around us, and we begin to really petition God, the Bible said, and God heard him and answered his prayer. He heard him and he answered his prayer. There's a call on your life.
Yes.
And there's a prayer that's waiting to be answered for you. But you're only going to get it when you begin to walk in the things that God has spoken. Amen.
Amen.
This is our Bible study. I pray that y'all have enjoyed it on tonight. To God be all of the glory.